Hello, I'm Michael Weber, and we are here in my Silver Swamp studio, recording studio. And I'm a 20-year-old and a kid with a dream, and one of my dreams is that playing music and making the sounds in which I hear on my favorite records, and how can we do it? And so I built this recording studio in my basement where I live, and so this is the control room, and I have this Tascam studio console, and this is where I spend many a times back here trying to turn the knobs and try to hear the perfect sound in which I hear in my head when I'm working with clients, and also engineering and producing my own tracks. And so this is kind of, I spent many hours in this seat. Much of my life has been spent in this very spot. And I've had this room for about 4 years into this current configuration. But then here in the live tracking room, I have my collection of a lot of vintage instruments that I've accumulated over the years of my lifetime, from Craigslist deals and eBay deals and so on, garage sales. So I have a collection of vintage keyboards, and this is just a small sampling of some of the stuff that I have, but this is the stuff that gets used on recordings pretty frequently. An old Mellotron from the 70s, pretty rare keyboard, definitely seen on the same model has been used on a lot of classic recordings, Strawberry Fields, Stairway to Heaven, the flute sounds, a lot of classic recordings, because, Tony Banks stuff with Genesis and Rick Wakeman with Yes. A lot of key points have been played on this keyboard, so I like to use this model on a lot of recordings. Of course, a Hammond B2, the predecessor to the B3, some Rhodes, and this is just a small sample of a lot of stuff that I use on recordings. I have more stuff in the garage, and an old Rogers kit made in Cleveland, Ohio. Gotta love the Cleveland Rogers kit from the 60s. And a lot of times I'll sit down, I'll come down and track drums by myself in this room. And it's fun to just sit down and knock it out. I have my collection of guitars. This is a small sample of what I have for guitars as well. My number one, one of my number one guitars, a newer Gibson ES345, but it's definitely seen a fair share of use. And I have a 65 Jazz Master back there, and the Les Paul I use a lot. And here's a sampling of some amps that we use on some recordings, some old Marshalls and old Fender Orange stuff. And but the key is that it's not always about the magic that music can create. And sometimes in someone's basement you can create the greatest recordings of all time. So really the goal is that my dream is to find a way to tap in to the magic that my favorite artists have been able to. And with this world down here in my studio, in which I call Silver Swamp Studios, I try to do that. And I'm learning every day and trying to make it better and better. And that's the dream. And also a lot of microphones I mentioned are CAD microphones. I'm endorsed by CAD microphones, so I use a lot of their stuff because it's great, and especially the quality for the money is unbelievable and unparalleled by anything else I've ever seen.
So how long did it take to get this studio to look the way it does now?
Well, I'm 20 years old, so I'll tell you, 20 years. It's pretty much been an entire lifetime project, because I've been buying gear. I used to go to the Ohio Guitar Show in Columbus, and I would stand there with adults, 40 or 50-year-old guys that had been doing this their whole life with guitars, and I was 2 or 3 years old, and I'll be, excuse me sir, can I see what's in your case? And they'd be so dumbfounded that some 3-year-old wanted to see some old Les Paul that he had. But after I'd play and we talked about it, they were always cool. But the key is that the thing is, I've been doing this my whole life. So the goal of trying to get all these instruments down here and the studio stuff, and learning about how to make it done correctly and the best we can make it sound, to have finished product and demo quality recordings. We come down here and have fun, and so it's kind of my playground,
Okay, so how often do you have people down here recording stuff?
Well, I'm down here working on recordings 5 days a week, 6 days a week. If I have free time, I am down here working. It is what I do. So I'll have guys come down pretty frequently, clients and stuff like that. Always looking for more clients to come down here and work, and even local musicians that I see something in. If I see your show and I say there's something magical in it, I'm always happy to have them come down here and we'll work on a couple tunes or so. Cut a single and see if it has something. And then that's what's fun. Because a lot of people, I know I'm blessed to have the ability to have this room. So especially at my age of 20 years old. So since I'm blessed to have this room, I'm always glad to share it with other people if they believe in themselves and believe in creating a product that is magical.